Hey everyone, it's Marco Brown. I'm here to talk to you today about what I call video game husbands. I've helped thousands of people through divorce, consulted with thousands and thousands, probably 3,000 plus people through the divorce process. And I've been through a lot of these video game husband divorces. Now I call them video game husbands because they're almost never video game wives. And what I mean by video game husbands are guys that go down to the basement and they play video games all the time. They don't really help around the house. They don't really help with the kids. They just kind of retreat from reality down there, do their thing. They come up every once in a while for like food and sex, and that's about it. There are quite a number of these, especially in the younger generation, so millennials down. There are tons and tons of gamers that will retreat down there. A lot of times this is a function, well, it's really a function of two things. Either this is just a personality type, and you kind of, if you're the wife, you kind of should have known this before you got married because this is what they did for entertainment. Or more often than not, what I see is guys who game, but the marriage tends to go poorly, so they kind of retreat into video games as a way to not deal with reality. So they start spending more and more time downstairs, almost always in the basement. They start spending more and more time downstairs, interacting less and less with the family, less and less with their wife. And this is where they spend all their free time. They stay up late at night. They do this stuff on the weekends. They don't really engage with other friends except for the people they play video games with. And I just got this little interlude. I do not understand video games. I grew up in Cold Bay, Alaska, as a little village of 85 people. I don't even think I had television until I was like 6. So games, not my deal. I don't understand why guys do this sort of stuff, but it does seem to be a pretty prevalent problem. Now, we deal with these divorces all the time. We get together as a team and we say, okay, this is how we're going to help our client. We kind of check off the box. There's some interesting things that we have to deal with in video game husband divorces, which is essentially, the guy will almost always want 50-50, even though he literally never spends any time with the kids. He's always downstairs. So there are ways that we can deal with these issues that come up in the video game husband divorces. But I want to talk a little bit about what you do as a wife in a situation like this where you just don't want to get divorced. And I think the most important thing to do is to recognize the problem early and then discuss the problem very early on. If you get to the point where your husband is spending 6-8 hours a day, in weekends playing video games, he's staying up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, spending money. These guys can spend money too, let me tell you. They'll be up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning just rolling out the credit card to pay for video games. They don't tell their wives. They'll get separate credit cards to hide it from their wives, so there's financial infidelity going on. It's really, really bad stuff. In addition to just not paying attention, then they spend all their money on the video games instead of on their wives, and it makes their wives feel like utter trash and totally displaced. So if you find yourself kind of in this situation, you think this is happening, you see it happening more and more with your husband, look, you need to just sit him down and say, this is a really big problem. I don't like this. I don't think we're on a good trajectory, and do whatever you need to do to fix the problem, whether that's counseling, whether it's religious counseling or secular counseling, putting your foot down and saying, look, this is going to lead to our divorce. I'm not having more kids with you if this is the situation. I mean, do whatever you need to do to deal with this. It's kind of like the story of Mikey and the dragon. The idea is that, the dragon's small and you could kind of contain the dragon, but then it just grows exponentially large. And once the dragon gets to a certain point, you're not fixing that problem. That dragon is going to destroy everything. And that's what happens in situations like this. You become kind of complicit. You don't solve the problem in the beginning. You don't address it. You think it's going to get better. It's not. It's simply going to get worse. You're going to spend more and more time in the basement playing video games, spending money, doing whatever it is gamer guys do. And I don't really understand it, but they spend a lot of time doing it. You don't solve the problem right up front, then you're going to have a bad situation. Now, this is not to say that all gamers are bad. Like, I know a lot of couples that game together, and that's their form of entertainment. So instead of going out to movies or to eat, they sit down and they play games together, and that's totally fine. If that's your family dynamic and that keeps your family together and you both enjoy it, then utterly fantastic. Go for it. Not my thing, not my wife's thing, but yeah, do it. You know, we like to go out to eat, we like to travel, we like to do these other things. But if gaming's your deal, good, go for it. If you want to get your kids into it because that's your family thing, then great. What I'm talking about is one person gaming all the time and not spending time or effort or money on the family. Those situations always lead to divorce, always lead to the wife and the children feeling completely and totally marginalized for a computer screen. Very, very bad situation. So if you want to save your marriage, deal with it right now. Deal with it up front. Do everything you possibly can do to break that cycle. And if you need to get divorced because it's come to that, realize that we can help you. Just give us a call, 801-685-9999. Look at us on the web, www.utdivorceattorney.com. We have 300,000 plus words, 400,000 words of content on there to help you out. We can get you through this if it's come to that point. And if you need anything else, just give us a call. We'll take care of you. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate it. Bye.